Okay, thank you very much. I think I'm gonna speak from here in order to make it to record and also have an audio, not a guide gesticulating in front of everybody. So my name is Florian. I'm an incubation specialist on the dynamic remarketing team. I was involved in launching the dynamic remarketing product for retail at least. I know that for Sweden, dynamic remarketing is still a quite new product, and it has been just launched for three months or something like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, even less.
Even less. Okay, so I think everybody is excited to get more insights and information about uh, this wonderful product. Um, so let's see what we're gonna be covering today. Today we're gonna start by talking about dynamic remarketing and how it works. Then we're gonna see the dynamic remarketing campaign creation flow. So we're gonna actually see what are the steps to create a dynamic remarketing campaign. Um, and then also we're gonna look at the components that we need for successful dynamic remarketing. Of course, the most important part is the remarketing tag. Throughout this presentation, I'm gonna call it as the smart pixel, so hopefully there won't gonna be a confusion. So please keep in mind every time I'm mentioning smart pixel, I'm talking about the remarketing tag. Then we're gonna move on how we can check and what tools we can use to check the smart pixel implementation, and also how to validate the products against what we have in Google Merchant Center feed. Afterwards, we're gonna move to the Google Merchant Center as it is a very important component for our product. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about the remarketing list and how we can create more advanced remarketing list, of course, for a more advanced dynamic remarketing strategy. Afterwards, I want to give you a sneak preview on how we can implement Smart Pixel using Google Tag Manager. I'm not a Google Tag Manager expert, but I can show you 5 minutes, or it should take me less, around 3 minutes, to implement the Smart Pixel on a website without touching the source code, because I think everybody is interested in that. Um, so that the interaction with the webmaster is gonna be at a minimum. Um, Regarding the technical part, I want to have a feeling on how technical can I go or not. So just raise your hands if you know the answer or not. So I want to ask, I mean, how much knowledge do you have like about JavaScript? Like everybody here knows what's a variable and what it's a variable type, what is an array.
I think it's good to start from the beginning.
So, but everybody is fine with those notions, right? Can I see some hands up? Who is fine? Okay, thank you very much for the confirmation. Um, and at the end, we're gonna go for a Q&A. Yeah. So, what is the dynamic remarketing? As you know, dynamic remarketing, its objective is to target the users that have already visited the website. And not only that, it can go a step beyond that and also target the user with a specific product that he also show more interest um, by checking it or even adding it to the cart. This is a new aspect and an additional layer in which we can create additional segmentation and see and determine how interested was the user in that product. Also, we're gonna be using all the information about the products are stored in the Google Merchant Center, so we are heavily relying on Google Merchant Center feed. So that's why we're gonna talk later on more about the Google Merchant Center and see what and how it should be set up. And as everybody knows, because we are using the remarketing tag, this solution is also cookie based. Um, regarding the dynamic remarketing reach, it reaches it runs only on GDN at this moment, so I think everybody knows that. And from this point on, I'm gonna do some comparisons with the standard remarketing. I think you all are more comfortable with remarketing, the standard remarketing. Is that correct? Okay, so I'm gonna start comparing a little bit the tag to see what has changed and what are the benefits of on having a dynamic remarketing tag, a smart pixel. So as I presume that everybody knows that for remarketing, in order to track the pages, let's say website, sorry, the page of the product A and the product B, we needed to create a new list every time and implement on the specific page that specific tag. So as everybody know, that this way of tracking the products and the pages that we are interested in, we're gonna generate a lot of lists, and that can be confusing and so on. But with dynamic remarketing, we have solved that problem by making available only a unique tag that it can be implemented across the whole website. So with the Smart Pixel, we can implement the same exact tag for both products, and we're gonna be able to monitor them separately. I'm gonna show you later on when I'm gonna start the campaign creation flow also that the place from where you can pick this Smart Pixel has changed a little bit. So you don't have to create every time a new tag, every time you need a new, in fact, not that you need, every time you want to pick the tag, you're gonna see that in AdWords, we're gonna have a remarketing tab in which we can see more tag details, including the source code, and we can get that source code and give it to the webmaster to implement it. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the logic behind that. It's what is happening behind the scenes and how do we make this possible. So we have a user that is visiting this product page. The product page has a Smart Pixel implemented. So as soon as the user is on the website, he's gonna get tagged with some cookies. The cookies will gonna be have attributes, so custom parameters, in fact, not attributes, that will gonna be specific to that product. So as you can see in the right corner, those values, ecom underline prod ID, ecom underline page type, ecom underline total value, will gonna be stored as cookie in the user browser. Then based on these cookies, our system will gonna be able to categorize the users into the lists, and the users will gonna be available on the lists. Now let's see the process the other way around when we are serving the ad to the user. So this same user will gonna visit a website that it's part of the GDN. So it will gonna have available a slot, an ad slot. Our system will gonna be able to identify the values, the cookies, and the values that are in the cookies. We're gonna see on what list is his part on, and if he's on the correct list, together that is working with the campaign, he'll gonna get an ad served. So basically, that's how it's. Basically, this is what is happening somewhat behind the screen, the scenes. From this point, I would like to show you how the dynamic remarketing campaign creation flow works. What is the difference? I mean, what things we should pay more attention to, and also, as I mentioned before, the place from which we can get the list. So as everybody knows, we can find the list in the shared libraries, audiences, and here are all the lists that are available. As I mentioned before, if we are interested in another in a tag just to implement it, we don't have to go here and create every time a new tag. We can go here under view details, setup, and view the remarketing tag and instruction, and we can get the code from here. You're gonna see that at this moment, this is a standard remarketing code. It doesn't have the custom parameters on top. The custom parameters makes it a smart pixel. It doesn't have those yet because this is like a freshly new account. And as long as I don't start the campaign creation flow, I won't gonna have access to the full settings for dynamic remarketing. So let's go and see how to set up a new campaign. So from new campaign, I'm gonna select dynamic display network only because it's a GDN campaign only. Just give it a name. And from here, be sure to select remarketing. We're gonna have to input a budget. And from here, please make sure that you check this box in order to use the Google Merchant Center. Once you have once you have done this, we're gonna start the dynamic remarketing setup flow. That will gonna look something like this. So in here, we're gonna have a step-by-step instruction on what it has to be done in order to set it up correctly. So the first part we have here is that your Google Merchant Center has to be linked with your AdWords account. If you are setting up both of them from the same account, you don't have to do that anymore because they're gonna be available, so you don't have to link them. But in case of one is set up with one email and the other with another email, you have to set up this linkage in Google Merchant Center settings. So from that in Google Merchant Center settings, you're gonna have to input your AdWords ID in order to link them. I already done this. Hopefully it will gonna identify it, but it looks like Merchant Center and AdWords account aren't linked yet. Oh, this is great. Unfortunately, without this step, you can't progress further on. So how should I progress from here? Okay, so as you can see, there are 4 steps. Unfortunately, I can't show you because the system hasn't been updated yet, it seems. So let's, I don't have even screenshots for this. Let me just explain you what will gonna happen in the second part. You're gonna get the smart pixel. The smart pixel, it will gonna look a little bit more different. Let me show you. It will look something like this. I'm gonna talk about this a little bit later on, but you can see it's actually the old remarketing tag with some additional script on top. The top part will gonna contain the custom parameters, and there we have to input the values that will gonna change dynamically. Let's go back to the flow. Okay, so once we're gonna have the tag, we can pass it to the webmaster, and webmaster can start the implementation. Then the third step, it will gonna be a step in which in your account, 5 remarketing lists will gonna be created automatically. We're gonna be able to identify them as they have the type automatically created. And also you're gonna notice that you cannot edit them in any way. You can only just delete them. So this flow will gonna create the remarketing list, and then we're gonna be taken back to the campaign to to create the ads. I also want to show you the ad creation, so let me try another account. Yeah, I know the other one was a little bit more clean and it was looking pretty, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to use this one. So once you have done that step, if you want to create another campaign, the process will gonna be similar, but of course we won't gonna go through the list creation phase because the lists are already on this account. So if I had in the other campaign already a Google Merchant Center account linked, I could just select it from here and proceed with the campaign creation. So I'm gonna proceed with my campaign creation from this account. So budget. Of course, you can go ahead and make all the settings, but just for the sake of this demo, I'm skipping a lot of the settings. But I think that everybody is aware that you have to input your targeting, language, countries, and so on. And in this step, we're gonna have to create an ad group, and okay, and then add what remarketing lists we want to target. So in here, we're gonna have all the remarketing lists that were created automatically. We're gonna see what are the lists that are created automatically, but in this example, I want to just target my general visitors. I'm gonna add the list to this campaign. I just enter a budget again, and I can proceed with this. So this has created the campaign. It has added to that campaign a remarketing list, and now I'm taking I am into the ad creation phase. As you can see here, the dynamic text ad has already been created. This ad is created automatically because there aren't so many features that can be edited, and of course, if you're not interested in the dynamic text ad, you can just delete it afterwards. But because the creation process is so simple, it's just there by default. Now, this is the image ad creation process. So you're gonna be taken. You're gonna see this available here. So on top here, you can see all the layouts that are available. If you select the option, optimize the layouts, we're gonna have our best performing 28, I think, or 27 layouts rotating to offer the best performance. This means that any of the layouts that you can see here can be shown in the ad. So they are rotated automatically based on the user, and most of the time the best performing layout, it will gonna be selected automatically. So this is how you can reach all your users, not only with one layout, but with a full variety that will gonna be rotating. Unfortunately, I do not have a preview, so just imagine that those slots were filled in with some product details and images. If you're not interested in the layouts to be rotated, you can select only one layout. In here, from the drop down menu, you can see all the layouts that are available. Pick the preferred one, and with this settings, with this selected here, your ad will gonna be delivered only in this layout. Again, on top here we have all the ad sizes available, and also when we go to select the ad sizes, please make sure that all ad sizes are selected. At this moment they should be around 11 ad sizes available. Another thing that I want to emphasize here is that if you use the optimized layouts, the standard flash ads will gonna be created, but also you have the opportunity to create HTML flash ads. So I would suggest on going with this and be sure that every ad size is selected, and this will gonna create also the ads for HTML5, not only flash ads. With HTML5, I think that everybody knows that we have a greater inventory. It also can use the text inventory, the HTML5, and also the mobile. So you're gonna have a even greater reach for your ads. Now below this you have the Google Merchant Center account that it's linked, and from this point on a lot of customization can take place, starting with logo. You can go ahead and upload the logo. You can enter additional text for the headline, and the call to action button can be edited from here. Those elements, keep in mind that they are static, so if you input something in here, the text won't gonna change dynamically as the products change from the products that are coming from Google Merchant Center feed. I would suggest to go ahead, try all the settings and see what it's available. It's a trial and error process. There's nothing that can go bad, so just go into the account and see what you can customize about this ads, because we cannot make any more like suggestion on how it should be used, because every advertiser can set up the ads in his own way, so it's free to start customizing it as he wants. Okay, moving on. Now, I was talking about the Smart Pixel. We know from where to get it. We know that, in fact, it's just an all remarketing tag with custom parameters on top. As you may notice, there some variables are missing from the remarketing tag. The conversion label is not there anymore, but that's totally fine. We don't need the conversion label anymore, and there may be some other variables that are missing, but don't worry, this is the new Smart Pixel and it works as it is. So now I want to talk about the custom parameters that are mandatory in order for a successful dynamic campaign to be running. We have the key names. So the first part that it's here, ecom_prod ID, it's called a key name. And then a key name can hold a value, so that's the value on this column. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the key name. So the key name has to be ecom_prod ID, ecom_page type, ecom_total value. Those are the key names that are mandatory, and the system will gonna try to find them. If any of them is missing, the campaign won't gonna perform so great, or it won't gonna perform at all. We are getting a lot of questions like, can we add additional key names? The answer is yes. You can add as many as you want. For example, if you want to know the category that the users are browsing, you can add the ecom_ category, and you're gonna be able to send more and more information. The idea with key name is that you only have to create a key name when you know that you're gonna be using it. The key names will gonna be available in the AdWords account, and you're gonna be able to use them for list creation. Now, moving on to the values. So the key name ecom_prod ID needs to hold the value. Of course, it will gonna be a prod ID, the ID of that product. It can be anything because it's an ID, so it's up to an advertiser to put the appropriate ID, either coming from his database. But keep in mind, this ID has to match with the ID from Google Merchant Center feed, because based on this ID, we're gonna see what product the user saw on the website and match it to show the exact product in the ad. So if this product ID doesn't match with the one in the feed, we won't gonna be able to show the exact product to the user, so the campaign won't gonna work. Ecom underline page type, it's another, it's very important, and it can hold the following values: home, search, category, product, purchase, and other. Among those, there are 3 that are absolutely mandatory, without which the campaign can't run. Those are product, cart, and purchase. We're gonna see later on why those are mandatory and on which pages they should be present. But again, you can add additional values if you want to. So for example, if the website have a comparison page in which you can compare 2 products, they can put fire on like ecom underline page time comparison page or something like that. Again, that's totally fine. Only, I mean, it's good to have more data, but be sure that include more data when you're gonna use it. So it's kind of free for all, free to use, and include as much data as possible. Now the last key name, it's ecom underline total value, and it will gonna contain the value of the product if it's on a product page. But if it's on the cart page or shop or order confirmation page, it will gonna contain the value of the full shopping cart or the full order that was processed. This is not quite mandatory, but it's best practice, because you can do a segmentation, for example, to target your shopping cart abandoners that have added items with a value over 100 in their baskets, for example. Now I'm gonna.
Sorry, can I just ask you, because
Sure.
custom changes,
Custom parameters.
Is this what I change on the actual feed? Is that where I can make the change, or is it out on the actual script?
This is on an actual script.
Yeah.
It's in the Smart Pixel that will gonna be on the website. So this Smart Pixel is working on the website.
So it's on that one, the part that I can add the different, the custom part.
Yes.
Right.
So in here, on the top, what you see in green, it's
Yeah.
the place where we have to replace, where we have in capitals replace with value. So that has the webmaster have to replace with value with proper values. I'm gonna show you a live example, and hopefully it will gonna be more clear. I was just going into this part, but first I want to talk about Tag Assistant. Tag Assistant is a Chrome extension which can be used to validate your to validate your tag, and also to check to see whether it's working or not. Now let's see an example. So this is a totally demo shop. I just built it. I know that it looks horrible. I just built it for this demo. So this is the Tag Assistant, the Chrome extension that tells me what tags I have on my website. So you can see here that it identifies a remarketing tag. It has new in the brackets because it recognizes that it's a new remarketing tag. And if I click on the suggestion, we can see more details. Under requests, we're gonna find our custom parameters, and on this page I have included ecom underline category t-shirt just to be able to track this, and ecom underline page type category. Both of them are not mandatory, so we don't have to think about it, but I just input it here for the demo. On a product page, it is mandatory to have the page type, product ID, and also the value. If I'm gonna expand the tag assistant, we're gonna see all the values that are here, and I have ecom underline product ID with the product ID. In here we have ecom underline page type product. So because this is a product page, I have to specify its product. And then we have the value. So if I'm gonna go to another product page, we're gonna see that the ecom underline page time will gonna stay the same, because it's as long as it's on a product page, the value has to be product, but with the product ID and the price changing accordingly. Now, if we go and add this to the cart, and let's see, maybe add this as well. This is my cart page. On my cart page, of course, again, I have a smart pixel implemented and firing with the following values. So we have ecom underline prod ID, and we have the two values, comma separated, because there are two products in the cart. Then we have the page type cart. It's mandatory for the page type cart to be cart, because this is the cart page. And then we have the value, the total value of the cart. One thing I want to mention here, in case, I mean, on the cart page, because we have to make the system understand what happens when there are multiple products on the cart. On the source code, when the smart pixel is implemented, the value of ecom underline prod ID has to be an array. Otherwise, we won't gonna be able to interpret the two values. So if you're gonna pass it as a string, you're gonna see that the comma will gonna be escaped, and that's and also tag assistant will gonna give you a warning saying that multiple products should be passed as an array, not a string. Okay, and I'm gonna start the checkout process. And again, on the order confirmation page, I'm gonna have the smart pixel with custom attributes, the product IDs that I just bought, again in an array format. The page type we're gonna change to purchase, and the total value. So this is how it should be placed. The important pages and the mandatory pages where we need to have it is on product page, cart page, and order confirmation page. On the rest of the pages, it's not mandatory, but it's better to have it implemented. And if it's implemented, you can just pass the custom parameters blank. So don't specify anything in them. Still good with the time. Also, I want to show you some common mistakes in implementing the tag manager, the smart pixel. Most of them, I think, no, all of them are being also signaled by tag assistant. So if you are checking it with the tag assistant, you're gonna get a warning, and also you're gonna get a link on more details about that warning. But let's see some examples in here. So in here we only have the part that is on top of the remarketing tag that holds the custom parameters, and you can see here the custom parameters are passed. So we have the product ID, and then we have the page type purchase, and this is not correct. Why? Because purchase has to be enclosed in double quotes. You're gonna ask me why we don't have to enclose the numbers, because this is already in JavaScript, and JavaScript knows how to interpret the numbers, so it's totally fine to pass of the value as a number. You only have to include quotes when there's no number, or it's a mixture of letters and numbers. Moving on, the second bad example is that each custom parameter has to be comma separated. So in here you can see that the commas are missing. One thing I want to mention here, if you keep in mind that this variable type, it's JSON, if you follow the JSON format, you should not get any errors in that sense. So just keep the JSON format and follow the JSON format, JSON formatting requests, not requests, but guides, and everything will gonna work fine. Now, another example is here that please be careful that every time there's an underline in the key name, if you input a space into the key name, the space is not supported. That's another JSON rule. The key names can't contain spaces, but no. Well, okay, it's our rule. And in here, we have some examples on passing multiple values for the prod ID. You can see here we have each value enclosed in quotes, comma, separated, but it's still not a valid example because this has to be an array. So a proper array in JavaScript looks like this. It's square brackets, first value enclosed in quotes, comma, second value enclosed in quotes, third, fourth, and so on. So this is another point where in fact, the webmaster have to pay special attention. And when you are passing, as I mentioned before, on any pages that are not product pages, car pages, and order confirmation pages, if you want to pass, if you have those custom parameters, you have to pass them blank. But when I say blank, of course, it doesn't mean that you don't input anything. It means that you input quotes. So you quotes without anything inside. That's a correct blank statement. And of course, this is available in the external help center. I won't gonna go through all the examples. Just wanted to make sure that the pages on which we need the custom parameters are clear to you. The value of ecom underline page type, it's also clear. So on the product page, it's product. On the cart page, it's cart, and on the order confirmation page, is purchase. Please respect those values and pass them as they are. We don't support any translation, any modification to them, and they have to be in English and exactly as they are. Now moving on to Google Merchant Center. I think everybody it's familiar with Google Merchant Center, as it's also being used for PLA. I think most of you have more experience than me in PLA. I don't have any clue how PLA works or anything like that, but I only know that it uses Google Merchant Center. So for Google Merchant Center feed, we are relying on it to get the product details. It's a totally separate product from us, so our request is to follow the guides and the feed requirements of Google Merchant Center. And as long as your Google Merchant Center is set up correctly and it's in line with all the policies and all the setup requirements, we're gonna be able to use it. In the feed, we have mandatory attributes. So without those attributes, I think you are not able to upload the feed. So we have ID, title, description, and so on. One thing that I want to mention about the ID, ID has to be unique across your Google Merchant Center account. Even though you have multiple feeds, you cannot reuse the ID. So that's a very important key, and they mentioned this in their help center. So in the feed specification under product ID, it's clearly stated that it cannot be reused across your account. So that's a very important point. And once you have your Google Merchant Center feed up and running, we're gonna be able to use it. It may be true that mandatory attributes are only the ones listed in here, just to be able to create your feed, But for the campaign to work best, we have some other recommended attributes. For example, a recommended attribute is Google product category. The product, we recommend providing the product category as it's is being used for as additional signals when we are serving the ads. Also, we have product type and brand, and also AdWords labels. Those are important because based on them, we can filter at campaign level. We can filter the product extension, so we can reach only a part of our feed if we are not interested in using all the items in the feed and serving them as ads. So those are recommended for like controlling what products you are serving in the ads. And we have another interesting one. It's called item group ID. I think this is for Google Merchant Center. This is used to identify the products with I mean the same products, but with variants. So for example, shoes with size 40, 41, and 42, if they are inputted as unique items, in fact they are the same items but with only some variants. So it's very good to use them, and also we're gonna see why item group ID is also very useful for us. So from dynamic remarketing point of view, we are using item group ID to make sure that we don't show similar products in the same ad. As I mentioned before, the advertiser can create the feed with an item for each. I mean, for inventory management purpose, they are inputting each item with the available quantity as well, and they are spreading it across like sizes, colors, or so on. But the image stays the same. So in fact, you're gonna have 4 or 5 items, but in fact, it's only one product. So in order for us not to show the same image 3 or 4 times in the ad, we are using the item group ID to make sure that it's unique in the ads. Also, we can do the match based on item group ID. I'm gonna get to that point later on about the match. As I mentioned before, just to recall, we are matching e-command-line-prod ID that is fired in the Smart Pixel with the ID in the feed. As an alternative, we can match it against item group ID, and we're gonna see later on that we have no, in fact now we're gonna see that we have also a third attribute available called DRID. You have a question?
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the item group idea. Is it different variables across the different industries?
I'm talking about retail only. Okay. Please bear in mind this is retail. Yeah. Okay. So as I said, we have a third option. So it's an optional attribute that can be added to the feed, and it's called DRID, coming from Dynamic Remarketing ID. It's another ID that can be provided if, for a reason or another, ID nor item group ID cannot match the product ID that is being fired from the Smart Pixel. I know you're gonna wonder why do we have so many alternatives. The answer is quite simple. The feed is being used for many other things, not just dynamic remarketing PLA. It's also used for shopping and other products that I'm not aware of. And also they are using IDs and item group IDs and so on. And that's why we need to be as flexible as possible and to make sure that we are not fighting over an attribute with other products. As the following one, DRLP stands for Dynamic Remarketing Landing Page. So this attribute can be added if we want all the clicks that are coming from the dynamic remarketing campaign to be redirected to a specific landing page. So the use case scenario would be that I'm running already PLA from my feed, and I have a special landing page, but I want to identify all the users that are coming from dynamic remarketing. So I'm going to include a special URL for dynamic remarketing that I can track, and I'm going to be able to see how many clicks I'm getting from PLA and how many clicks I'm getting from dynamic remarketing. This is only way. This is not the only way that this can be done. We also have what are called value track parameters that can be added into the URL. We have a value track parameter specially built for dynamic remarketing. It's called if dyn, and you can input the value that you are looking for. So there are many ways of doing this, but I'm just making you aware that if you run in any trouble with this, there are always some other ways and works around that are available. And another good example is DR title, dynamic remarketing title. Again, the use case, it will gonna be similar with the previous one, with the PLA. In the PLA, the best practice may say, I'm just speculating, I don't know what the PLA best practices says, but I'm just speculating. They may say, okay, you need a long title with as much details as you can include in the title and so on. So that's good for PLA, but for dynamic remarketing, we are truncating the text, the title to 25 characters, 20 to 25 characters. So the title has to be concise and has to cover like the essence in the 20 or 25 characters. I would say 25 characters because 20 characters is for like Asian languages in which we have the bigger letters and other characters. So 25 characters for dynamic remarketing title, it's very good to show in the ad and not get the title truncated. Okay, the remarketing list, the part I couldn't show you when the remarketing lists are automatically created. As I mentioned before, the flow creates automatically 5 remarketing lists, all visitor. It will gonna include every visitor that visits the website and the pages that have a tag on them. General visitors, visitors on the websites that visit any page, but none of the pages that we are interested in. The pages that we are interested in: cart, product pages, cart pages, and purchase order confirmation. So those are the 3 pages that we are interested in. I left them in black because those 2 lists will gonna get users and they're gonna get populated with all users and all the users collected by other tags as well. So for example, if you have an old remarketing tag there, those lists will gonna collect the users from those tags as well. The following 3 tags will gonna collect the users with custom parameters only. So the users that visit a page where we have the smart pixel. So those are product viewers, shopping cart abandoners, and past viewers. From the title only, I think everybody can have the feeling that we are already in the purchase funnel steps. So those 3 lists, in fact, are the 3 steps in the purchase funnels. We have the product viewers. So the top of the purchase funnels, product viewers list, we're gonna include only users that have checked the product but never went to the cart page. The second one is the middle of the funnel, purchase funnel, the shopping cart abandoners, the users that have added something to their cart but never completed the purchase for a reason or another. And past buyers, of course, the converters, users that have actually bought something. Things that I would like to say here are that the lists are mutually exclusive, so there is no overlap between them. Also, at any given time, a user can be on only one list, so we won't gonna have a user being a product viewer and a past buyer. Please do not, I mean, the best practice is to use them as they are. Don't try to exclude from them like converters from your conversion tracking tag. because these are already built into them, and it will gonna just scramble up everything, I think. So the best way is to use them as they are. If you need to, in fact, I think we're gonna go later on. I want to talk about recommendation engine and conversion optimizer. I know that recommendation engine, in fact, no, let me talk first about conversion optimizer. So conversion optimizer is the option that you can opt in from the AdWords account after your campaign had 30 conversion in the last 30 days. I think the conversion optimizer is being used across multiple products, and it can be enabled from other products as well. But it's very, we recommend this to be used because it also uses the conversions values, and it will gonna adjust the bids to drive conversions. So it will gonna be a CPA target strategy in which the bids will gonna be increased if the user have really high chances of converting. The second system that I want to talk is recommendation engine. I know the recommendation engine may sound like something that is working only for the buyers. So after you have bought something, you're gonna get recommendation to buy something else. But in our case, recommendation engine is running at all purchase funnel steps. So it will gonna be available for all the list that I mentioned, like product viewers, shopping cart abandoners, and purchasers. And also the recommendation engine is the one that is picking the appropriate products to be shown in the ad. So in the ad, usually we have one product that was viewed by the user on the website, and then you're gonna see that we have additional from 6 to 8 slots that can be filled in with products, and those products are being picked by the recommendation engine using other signals. When I'm talking about other signals, I'm talking about contextual signals, I'm talking about a category. As I mentioned before, in Google Merchant Center, we have added the categories so that we know which product is from which category and maybe do the right recommendation, and also like best performing product from Google Merchant Center. There are a lot more signals that are being used, but those are the main ones. As I mentioned before, if you're gonna use additional values, let's say for the custom attribute ecom underline page type, you can then use those and create additional lists. If you're gonna create a list, let's say from here, we're gonna say ecom underline category equals toys, the list will gonna capture only the users that have visited the category toys. That's great, but bear in mind that with this simple list, you're gonna catch only the users that have visited the toys category, but without saying whether they are product viewers, shopping cart abandoners, or purchasers. So we need to create this simple list, and then we're gonna need to create a custom combination and use one of the free lists that were automatically generated. So when we go and create a combination, let's say that we want to do a combination between the list we just created, like toy category viewers and the general visitors, we can go into the AdWords and create a combination, custom combination list, in which we have the logical operation available. We have the AND, OR, and exclude logical operations. So my list here, we're gonna say include in the new list all the users that are in general visitors and in toy category viewers. This will gonna make us, this will gonna assure us that all the users here are general visitor and they have visited the toy category. In this example, I use general visitors, but you can use any other list like shopping cart abandoners, and you're gonna be able to target the shopping cart abandoners only for toy category. Then, if you want to exclude it, you're gonna use the same custom combination, but instead of adding them with the AND statement, you're gonna add it below with none of this audience. So this means that we're going to exclude from the general visitors all the toy category viewers. And once the list is ready, you can just use it to target your AdWords campaign. Now, I know that we are just, is it fine? Is it fine? I'm gonna just hold your attention for another 5 minutes because I want to do a demo on how we can implement the Smart Pixel using Google Tag Manager and what are the benefits of this. So does everybody here knows what's Google Tag Manager? No? Yes? Oh, sorry. So Google Tag Manager, oh, not this. Just a second. Cool. So this is how the interface of Google Tag Manager looks like. Google Tag Manager is a tag management system. This means that you can implement the Google Tag Manager, and afterwards any other tag can be implemented from the user interface, meaning from here. So it as benefits, it will gonna the implementation of other tags will gonna be much easier because once you have it on the website, the webmaster doesn't have to do anything like touching the source code or doing any other modification. So I have here an example of the same website. And I already have implemented on it Google Tag Manager. Just a second. So, okay, this is it. So I already implemented on this demo website the Google Tag Manager. So we're gonna go to the scenario that the webmaster have already implemented it, and we only have to implement the Smart Pixel. So as you can see, the tag assistant can already it's already telling us that Google Tag Manager is present on the website, and we can go ahead and create it and add the Smart Pixel in Google Tag Manager interface. So this is the interface. This is how it will gonna look. So from here, it's very straightforward. We only have to click new, create a new tag, enter a tag name here, Smart Pixel, and we have to select a tag type. This it will gonna be, of course, a dynamic AdWords remarketing tag, and we're gonna have to specify the ID here. Let me get my conversion ID. Okay, so I'm going to input my conversion ID in here. As I mentioned before, conversion label is not required anymore. I'm going to reach the custom parameters parts later on. And beside this, we are going to need to add a firing rule. So we can make rules like instruct the system when to fire this tag. So I'm going to select all pages, save it. So I have added firing rule all pages. I'm gonna save the tag. I have to create a new version and then publish it. So now if I'm going on the website and I'm refreshing everything, I can see that the tag system is already telling me that I have the Google Tag Manager. The Google Tag Manager includes the remarketing tag, it says here, and then I can see the remarketing tag as I could have seen it before as in my previous example. So with this done, the Smart Pixel is firing across my whole website, as you can see. So if I go anywhere, it's already firing. So that part is already taken care for. Now I need to add the custom parameters. To add the custom parameters, I need to get a little, just analyze the website a little bit and see from where we can get it. So in here, if you notice, most of the advertisers are passing like the product ID or a code already in the URL. that's their internal ID or so on. And most of the time, the internal ID is the same ID that they have in the feed. So in this case, I have my ID in the URL, so I can just fetch it in the URL. I'm just checking to see that it's valid for all my product pages, so it is. So how can I fetch that value from there? Well, I'm going to custom parameters. I have to specify the key name, so the key name is ecom_prod ID, and then we have to input the value. For the values, we're gonna use what is called a macro. A macro is kind of a function that will gonna bring the value to Google Tag Manager. So for that, I'm gonna have to create a new macro, just give it a name. So I'm gonna say prod ID from URL, because that's where I'm gonna fetch it for. From macro type, I'm gonna select URL. From component type, I'm gonna select query. I think everybody, does everybody know what's a query in the URL? So if they, for example, we have here A equals B and B equals Y, if I'm requesting the query of A, it will gonna return me X. So in my case, my query is ID, and it will gonna return me the value that I'm looking for. So in here, I'm just inputting the query key, and I'm saving it. Now I'm gonna save the tag. I have to create a new version. The version system is very useful because you can revert back if you do screw it up and you have to fix something. And with my tag published, now if I'm gonna refresh the page, I should get also the ecom_product ID with the appropriate ID. Very cool. The same way can be done for the price, but of course the price is not available in the URL. For that, we can either get it from the DOM elements, that's directly from HTML elements, but we can get it also from the JavaScript. So for example, if you can find a JavaScript variable that is holding your price value, we can use this JavaScript variable again to get its value. So I'm gonna go in the tag manager. I'm gonna add a new custom parameter. So it will gonna be, what it will gonna be? What's the name of it? No, total value. Okay, and I'm gonna have to create a new macro. I'm gonna say price from JavaScript. In the type, I'm gonna select JavaScript variable, and here I only have to input the JavaScript variable name. So on my website, the JavaScript variable name that is holding my price is item_price. Okay, I'm saving it. I'm saving the tag, creating a new version, publish it, and by refreshing the page, I'm gonna get all the values. So I think you've got the idea. Just bear in mind that the macros are the functions that will gonna bring your value to Google Tag Manager. In here we have a lot of macro types that are useful. For example, we have macro types that are custom JavaScript. So if you can just add just JavaScript in other words, you have full access to everything that is on that website. So I think it's very, very easy to use, and it covers all the situation. So